Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we are going to learn about a very special man. His name was Mahatma Gandhi. This story is for Level 1 learners, so I will use simple words and short sentences. Listen carefully. You can learn a lot from this story. Let's begin. Mohandas Gandhi was born in 1869 in a small town called Porbandar in India. His family was not rich, but they were respected in their community. His father worked for the local government. His mother was a deeply religious woman. She prayed every day. She fasted often. She taught young Mohandas to be honest and kind, even when it was hard. When Gandhi was a child, he was shy. He was afraid of the dark. He was afraid of snakes. He did not like fighting with other children. He was not the strongest student in his class, and he was not the most confident boy either. Nobody looking at young Gandhi would have guessed that one day, millions of people around the world would know his name. At that time in India, many families arranged marriages for their children very young. When Gandhi was only 13 years old, his family arranged his marriage to a girl named Kasturba. She was also 13. They did not choose each other. Their families chose for them. This was normal in India at that time. At first, the two young teenagers barely knew how to be husband and wife. They argued sometimes, the way any two young people forced together might argue. But over many years, something real grew between them. Kasturba became far more than just Gandhi's wife. She became his partner in almost everything he did later in life, including his most difficult and dangerous political work. She was arrested and sent to prison herself, more than once, standing beside her husband's cause even when it put her own safety at risk. A few years after their marriage, Gandhi's father became seriously ill. Gandhi cared for him every single night, gently massaging his legs and helping him however he could. One night, exhausted, Gandhi left his father's side for just a few minutes to rest. In those few minutes, his father passed away. Gandhi never fully forgave himself for not being there at that final moment. This early experience of guilt and loss shaped him deeply, teaching him young how quickly life could change and how important it was to be present for the people who needed him. When Gandhi was 18, he traveled to London, England to study law. This was a big change for a young man from a small Indian town. London was cold. London was busy. London was full of strange new customs. Gandhi felt lonely at first. He missed his home. He missed simple Indian food. Before he left India, Gandhi had made a personal promise to his mother. He promised her he would not eat meat, drink alcohol, or touch other women while he lived abroad, far from his family's watchful eyes. Keeping this promise in a foreign city, surrounded by unfamiliar customs and constant temptation, was not easy for a young man barely out of his teenage years. But Gandhi kept his word. Slowly, he found small groups of vegetarians in London who shared his beliefs. Through these new friends, he began reading important religious and philosophical texts from many different traditions, texts that would later shape his entire way of thinking about truth, honesty, and peaceful living. He studied hard, and after 3 years, he became a lawyer. After finishing his studies, Gandhi returned to India, but he could not find good work as a young lawyer. He felt lost. He did not know what to do with his life. Then, in 1893, he received a job offer. A company needed a lawyer in South Africa. Gandhi accepted the job. He thought he would stay in South Africa for only 1 year. He ended up staying for over 20 years, and that decision changed his entire life. In South Africa, Gandhi experienced something that shocked him deeply. One day, he was traveling by train. He had a first-class ticket, a ticket he had paid for honestly. But a white train official told him that Indian people were not allowed in first class. Gandhi refused to move to a lower-class car. The official called the police. The police forced Gandhi off the train at a cold, empty station. He sat alone that night, shivering in the dark, thinking about what had just happened to him. That night changed Gandhi forever. He asked himself an important question. Should he go back to India quietly, or should he stay and fight against this unfair treatment? Gandhi decided to stay. He decided to fight. But he made an important choice about how he would fight. He would not use violence. He would not use weapons. He would fight with peaceful protest instead. In South Africa, Indian people faced many unfair laws. They needed special passes to travel. They could not vote. They faced constant discrimination because of their skin color. Gandhi organized peaceful protests against these laws. He asked people to break unfair laws calmly and then accept punishment without fighting back. This method needed enormous courage. It is easy to fight back when someone hurts you. It is much harder to stay calm and peaceful instead. Gandhi called this method satyagraha. This word means truth force in the Indian language Sanskrit. The idea was simple but powerful. If you hold on to truth and you refuse to use violence, you can change even the most unfair systems. Gandhi was arrested many times in South Africa. He went to prison more than once, but he never gave up his peaceful methods, even when the government treated him harshly. After more than 20 years in South Africa, Gandhi returned to India in 1915. By this time, he was already becoming famous. Indian people had heard about his peaceful fight in South Africa. They welcomed him home as a hero. But Gandhi did not want fame. He wanted to help his country. India, at that time, was ruled by Britain. The British controlled India's government, India's laws, and much of India's economy. Many Indian people wanted freedom from British rule. Gandhi began traveling across India. He wanted to understand his own country deeply before trying to lead it. He visited poor villages. He talked with farmers. He wore simple homemade clothes, made from cotton he spun himself, instead of expensive British cloth. He ate simple food. He lived simply, even though he could have lived a comfortable life as a famous lawyer. People noticed this. They saw that Gandhi did not just talk about equality, he lived it every single day. One of Gandhi's most famous protests happened in 1930. The British government controlled salt production in India. This meant Indian people were not allowed to make their own salt, even though salt is found naturally along India's long coastline. Indian people had to buy salt from the British government and pay a tax on it. This law hurt poor people the most because everyone needs salt to survive and stay healthy. Gandhi decided to protest this unfair law in a simple, powerful way. He announced that he would walk from his home all the way to the sea, a distance of over 200 miles, and make salt from ocean water himself, breaking British law completely peacefully. Many people thought this plan sounded too simple to matter. How could walking to the ocean change anything? But something remarkable happened. As Gandhi walked day after day, more and more people joined him. What began as a small group grew into thousands of people walking together. Newspapers around the world wrote about the growing march. When Gandhi finally reached the sea after 24 days of walking, he bent down, picked up a small piece of natural salt from the beach, and held it high above his head. It was a small physical action, but it carried an enormous message. Indian people could break unfair laws peacefully, together, without fear. After the Salt March, similar protests broke out across India. Thousands of people were arrested, including Gandhi himself. Prisons across the country filled with peaceful protesters. But the world was watching now. People in Britain itself began questioning whether their government's control over India was truly fair and right. Gandhi's fight for Indian independence lasted many more years. There were difficult moments along the way. Sometimes protests turned violent, even though Gandhi asked for peace. When this happened, Gandhi felt deep sadness. He sometimes stopped eating for many days, a method called fasting, to encourage his own people to return to peaceful methods. He believed that violence, even in a good cause, would only create more suffering in the end. During World War II, tensions in India grew even stronger. Gandhi launched a movement called Quit India, demanding that British rule end completely and immediately. The British government responded by arresting Gandhi and many other Indian leaders. Gandhi spent almost 2 more years in prison during this difficult period. Still, his message of peaceful resistance continued spreading inside India and far beyond its borders. Finally, after decades of struggle, India gained independence from British rule in August 1947. It was a moment of enormous joy for millions of Indian people. Gandhi's peaceful methods, once doubted by many, had helped achieve something that seemed impossible for so long. However, independence also brought terrible pain. India was divided into two separate countries, India and Pakistan, along religious lines. This division caused massive violence between Hindu and Muslim communities, with millions of people forced to leave their homes and terrible loss of life on both sides. Gandhi was heartbroken by this violence. He traveled to areas suffering the worst conflict, walking through dangerous streets, trying to bring peace between communities who had lived together peacefully for generations before this sudden, terrible division. He fasted again, refusing food until leaders promised to stop the violence in specific cities. His actions likely saved countless lives during this dangerous period, even as his own health grew weaker from age and hardship. Sadly, Gandhi's life ended in tragedy. On January 30th, 1948, a man who strongly disagreed with Gandhi's message of peace between religious groups shot him 3 times at close range during an evening prayer meeting. Gandhi died almost instantly. He was 78 years old. Witnesses said his final words were a simple call to God, spoken softly even as he fell. The news of his death shocked the entire world. Leaders from many countries expressed deep sadness. Millions of ordinary Indian people wept in the streets, mourning a man many considered the father of their newly independent nation. His body was carried through the streets of Delhi in a long, slow funeral procession. More than 1 million people walked behind him, many weeping openly, some simply standing in stunned silence, unable to believe that the small, gentle man who had changed their entire country was truly gone. Even though Gandhi died decades ago, his influence never disappeared. His methods of peaceful protest inspired countless movements for justice around the world in the years that followed. Civil rights leaders in America studied Gandhi's methods closely. Freedom movements in other countries used his ideas about peaceful resistance too. Gandhi proved something the world desperately needed to see, that ordinary people, using peaceful methods and enormous courage, could stand against powerful, unfair systems and eventually win. Even today, people visit the simple memorial built where Gandhi's body was cremated in Delhi. It is a quiet, peaceful place, very different from the loud, crowded city around it. Visitors often stand there in silence for a long time, thinking about how one ordinary man, born in a small coastal town, once afraid of the dark and afraid of snakes, grew into someone whose peaceful courage changed the course of an entire nation's history. Gandhi's story teaches us many important lessons. First, real strength does not always look like fighting or violence. Sometimes the strongest choice is staying calm and peaceful, even when others treat you unfairly. Second, one person's simple, honest actions can inspire enormous change, even when that change seems impossible at first. Third, true leaders live by their own values every single day, not just when people are watching them. Fourth, fighting for justice sometimes requires great personal sacrifice and patience, often over many, many years. Fifth, even after achieving a great goal, the work of building peace between different people often continues long afterward. Now, it's time to learn vocabulary from today's story. Arrange means to plan or organize something in advance. Example, his family arranged his marriage when he was young. Discrimination means unfair treatment of a person because of who they are. Example, Indian people faced constant discrimination in South Africa. Protest means a strong action or statement showing you disagree with something. Example, he organized peaceful protests against unfair laws. Peaceful means calm and without violence or fighting. Example, he believed in peaceful methods, not violence. Courage means bravery, especially when something is difficult or frightening. Example, staying calm under attack needed enormous courage. Independence means freedom from control by another country or group. Example, India finally gained independence in 1947. Fast means to stop eating food for a period of time, often for religious or political reasons. Example, Gandhi would fast to encourage peace. Tension means a feeling of stress or difficulty between people or groups. Example, tensions in India grew stronger during the war. Tragedy means a very sad and shocking event. Example, Gandhi's life ended in tragedy. Influence means the power to affect how people think or act. Example, his influence never disappeared after his death. Inspire means to give someone the desire or courage to do something. Example, his methods inspired movements around the world. Sacrifice means giving up something important for a bigger purpose. Example, fighting for justice required great personal sacrifice. Try to use these words in your own sentences. This will help you remember them. Now, let's practice speaking together. Repeat after me. Speak slowly and clearly. Gandhi believed in peaceful protest. He was arrested many times. He never gave up his beliefs. He walked to the sea to protest a law. Thousands of people joined his march. India finally gained its independence. His death shocked the entire world. His ideas are still remembered today. He showed the world a new kind of strength. His story continues to inspire people. Practice these sentences 2 or 3 times. This will help your speaking and your confidence. Thank you so much for listening to this story today. I hope you enjoyed it and learned some new English words too. Now, I have a few simple questions for you. What part of Gandhi's story surprised you the most? Do you think peaceful protest can really change unfair systems? What does courage mean to you after hearing this story? Please write your answers in the comments below. I would love to read them. If you liked this story, please like the video, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more easy English stories. Take care, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.